Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Support me on Patreon, patreon.com/mtgbooks. Chapter 25, The Battle of Urborg. Come away from Keld, Urza said, appearing suddenly out of nowhere. Baron did not even startle. He didn't care enough anymore to startle. He'd been crouching here beside the fjord, watching frigid water mound up with the rising tide. Foam stole tentatively across the sandbar and kissed the keels of Keldan longships. In less than an hour, the warships would stand in 20 feet of water. Then Baron and his erstwhile foes, the Keldans, gray and massive and impatient on the docks, would ship together for more wars in western Keld. Come away from Keld, Urza repeated. Baron squinted at him. How dare you? You told me this battle was everything. You told me I'd just have to forget what these beasts did to Rain, so I did. I did just like you said, and now you so blithely call me away? Urza stared back, his eyes like twin candles. He stood on a black fist of basalt beside the fjord and seemed just another stony extrusion. Beneath woolen skies, his war robes were dark, except where snowflakes pasted themselves. This battle is no longer everything. Damn you, Urza, Baron said bitterly. Sea Spray vaulted up behind the planeswalker. It's the army, not the battle. That's why you had to forget about your wife. I needed this army. I need them for a better fight. What better fight? Baron asked wearily. Urborg. Baron barked a laugh. He couldn't have imagined a more ludicrous response. Urborg? A cesspool of liches and ghosts and zombies, brimstone and malaria? Oh, yes, that's a better fight. Urborg is the key for the next phase of the Phyrexians' plan. They cannot be allowed to gain it. Shaking his head dispiritedly, Baron said, Why not? Urborg deserves them. They'd probably be at home there. That's the reason, exactly. They would be at home, Urza replied evenly. Koilos and Urborg. If Yawgmoth gains footholds there, he can straddle the world. All the better to punch him in the groin, Baron growled. He flung a shard of basalt out to skip across the foaming flood. You sound angry, my friend, Urza said. He stepped down from the rock and approached. These northern climes are wearing on you. Baron stood. He gazed at a gray wave that struck the pebble bank and sent rocks tumbling toward the shore. Benalia is lost. Zalfir and Shiv are gone. Now Keld is falling too. I thought I could forget Rain in a war, but not when war screams, loss, loss, loss! The planeswalker shook his head. Icy wind tore at his ash-blonde hair. It is not all loss. Yavimaya has won. Llanowar has won. Llanowar? Yes, I understand that your daughter was instrumental in the victory. Hannah, Baron breathed. He closed his eyes, imagining her bright smile. The face he saw, though, was that of Rain. I should go congratulate her. A strange shadow passed across Urza's gemstone eyes. Soon, my friend, but not yet. Urborg awaits us. I want you to convince the Keldans to sail to Urborg at best time and rendezvous with you there. Meanwhile, you'll be mustering the Sarens who survived the fall of Benalia. We will need their angel armies. Sarens and Keldans? Baron looked sick. Strange alliances. Stranger and stranger, Urza agreed. Dominaria will not be saved unless all Dominarians fight. I am arranging a great coalition among the many nations of the globe. Those who stand alone will fall. Those who unite will conquer. Baron stared appreciatively at his friend. I never thought I'd heard Urza Planeswalker admit needing help from anyone. Urza shrugged away the comment. Of course, Lord Windgrace and his Panther warriors will join us. I'll be bringing elf warriors from Yavimaya and Helionauts from Talaria. Helionauts? Baron interrupted. Talaria will be vulnerable without them. We all must make sacrifices, Urza said. Baron shrugged, staring across the rising tide. Already 2 of the Keldon longships bobbed levelly on the flood. Up stout gangplanks marched Keldon warriors, crates loaded on their backs. All right, I'll do what you ask. The Keldons and Sarens will be there at best time. We'll fight your battle for you. We'll drive out the Phyrexians and leave the place to the Liches. Good, Urza said simply as he began to disappear. I'll look for you there. Baron flew in the midst of an angelic host. Their wings gleamed white above a pitching sea. Wind whistled from perfect pinions and set songs in the air. This was how Sarens flew, enmeshed in music. It was why their attack squadrons were called choirs. Each creature knew her part. Each flew in precise pitch with the others. Like fish in a school who sense the movement of the whole in pressure points along their sides, angels knew by harmonies and dissonances where they flew, how they fought, and whom they slew. Baron was at home among these inhuman glories. He rode ahead of them, aback a winged horse conjured from thin air. The creature seemed a thing of cloud, white and gleaming, halfway between solidity and mist. Still, it was powerful. Wings spread wide on the wind. With each surging stroke, the beast's neck bent. Its hooves churned the air as though it leaped steeples. Of course, Baron did not need a winged steed. He could fly with a mere thought. But he had been inspired by Teferi's phoenix flocks. There was something appealing about riding into battle on a creature of pure imagination. This horse would not tire, it would not bleed, it would not foam or spit or die, all the filthy things that true flesh had done over and over the last long weeks. As glorious as the angel choir behind him, as magnificent as the ideal creature beneath him, Baron could not keep his spirits from slumping. He was sick of war, sick to death of it. He didn't mind killing Phyrexians, he minded watching Phyrexians kill angels and Keldons, elves, and Metathran and humans. He minded knowing that lives were mere chess pieces in a match between Urza and Yawgmoth. Baron was tired of being a pawn. There, he murmured, looking dead ahead. Though he was still 100 miles out, a gazing enchantment brought every detail in crystalline clarity to his eyes. Beyond the alabaster wings of his mount, Urborg loomed up out of the sea. It was a black and awful chain of islands. Dormant volcanoes hissed sulfuric steam into the air. Pestilential swamps stenched beneath forests of dead trees. The air waved with nauseous heat and rattled with a billion bugs. The only solid ground was muck. The only water was poison. The only living inhabitants were allies of, or slaves to, or prey for the unliving. Ghouls, liches, zombies, wraiths, necromantic horrors, all. That was the normal aspect of Urborg. Since Phyrexians had moved into the neighborhood, things had gone significantly downhill. Now the skies teemed with dragon engines and undead serpents. Like devil rays, they drifted in lazy circles around the isle, guardians and watchdogs for the forces below. There were plenty of forces below. 3 Phyrexian cruisers had landed. They sat atop long pylons sunk into the marshes. These were the command centers. Troop transports in their hundreds had also landed, offloading Phyrexians especially bred for swamp combat. The officers of these units rode small airship through the swamps, wedge-shaped chariots with batwing airfoils. Despite Urza's best intentions, the Phyrexians already ruled Urborg. Now Baron and his angels would fight demons for possession of hell. More than Baron and his angels. He glimpsed 8 huge rags of sail stretched on the wind. Keldon longships. They tore parallel lines through an angry sea. Reaching full out, they seemed to plan a ramming attack on the main isle itself. Knowing Keldons, it was a surety. They would drive their ships up as far as they would go, perhaps 1,000 yards into the salt marshes, ram whatever Phyrexian landing craft they could find, clamber up the decks, and kill. Oh yes, the Keldons would have a grand time today. Above them, seeming almost their reflection in the sky, soared a squadron of airships. Talarian Helionauts. Each looked like a galleon, its fore and mid-decks encased in a dome of glass and steel. From the center of the aft deck rose a mechanical arm topped with whirling blades. Defensive spines bristled at prow, gunwales, and stern. 3 pulsar guns pivoted fore and aft, but the true weapon of the ship was the whirling blades. Those blades proved themselves now, darting down with the speed of eagles. Talarian helionauts swarmed the island. Dragon engines rose to do battle, skulls craned backward to belch flame, mechanical claws raked out, tails scourged the air. On leather wings, Phyrexian dragon engines leaped into the sky and bathed their foes in a river of fire. Helionauts plunged into the blazing flood. Flames licked across polished metal. Fire left a blush of steam in the windscreens. Talarian pilots rubbed away the condensation and shot through the flame. Pulsars spat steams of disruption fire. The charges jagged across the sky to impact dragon engines. Blue energy sparked and danced across their metal frames. It held them in a paralyzing grip, just long enough for the blades to come to bear. With spinning scythes, Helionites sliced through dragon engines. Wings were sheared from the beasts, heads chopped free, even ribs ground to shards and dust. Hunks of dragon engine fell from the sky. It was not easy as that, though. From a volcanic vent below, more dragon engines arrived like shooting steam. These were larger beasts. The other had been only keen-eyed sentries. These dragon engines were decked for war. They jetted into the sky straight beneath the Helionauts. Wings surged once last and folded beneath wicked shoulders. Dragons rammed Helionaut hulls. Planished metal buckled, joints failed, great holes gouged in the sides of the ships, outspilled crews and ruined mechanisms. One craft was struck so hard it bounced upward and chewed the belly out of another. They both plunged from the sky. A third Helionaut began spinning drunkenly beneath its whirling scythes. It veered like a gyro and dropped, destroying a dragon engine on its way to the ground. The remaining Helionauts filled the air with pulsar blasts. Charges chased dragon engines through the sky. Power laid hold of them, paralyzed for a moment. Before the ships could tear them apart, though, other dragon engines attacked. Helionauts hailed down. Baron suddenly regretted the gazing enchantment. What was the good of seeing a battle that was still miles away? Then, everything changed. Dragon engines tore each other apart. Baron blinked, wondering what he saw. Suddenly, he knew. Down upon the Phyrexian dragon engines soared real dragons, Ramadaragas and his dragon nations. The ancient Shivan worm led 4 other dragon lords, one for each of the colors of magic. They flew wing and wing, one-time foes turned stolid allies. In the wake of these 5 great dragons flew whole serpentine nations. They poured from the sky as Phyrexians had geysered from the ground. Daragaz flew in the vanguard. Fireballs rolled from his claws and baked dragon engines. Lava spouted from his throat and melted them in midair. To his one side flew the green dragon lord, trailing spores. They clumped onto Phyrexian engines and grew rampantly, cracking their joints. The white lord of dragons followed. It only flew its pure wings, cleaving through Phyrexians like light through nightmares. The blue dragon lord, meanwhile, sent spells out to rip the air from under scabrous wings. The black dragon, his folk, though, were fiercest of all. They smashed atop their evil brethren and ripped them apart with bare claws. Hunks of dragon engine fell to crash spectacularly in the swamps. More things crashed in the swamps. Keldon longships, dagger-like with their mainsails reefed and outriggers cut loose, glided with surreal speed through the salt marshes. Rams split dead trees in their path. Keldon greatswords clove Phyrexian troopers clawing to board. Arrows poured out from the decks, from this distance seeming ripples spreading from the prow. Arrows? Baron wondered to himself. The first longships that last ran aground, 1,000 yards inland. From the rails leaped massive Keldons in their hundreds. But also others. Lithe, quick, slender, elves. Urza must somehow have arranged their passage with Baron's Keldon warriors. Strange coalitions. Brawny and scrawny. Arrogant and elegant. Keldons and elves rushed side by side into battle. Beyond their lines, Phyrexian shock troops rose from rock grottos to slay. They were as thick as maggots on a corpse and outnumbered the Keldons and elves 100 to 1. At their head, gliding aboard wedge-shipped air chariots, they rode black armored commanders. They'll need help down there, Baron decided. Helionauts and dragons ruled the skies, but Phyrexians ruled the ground. Baron lifted his hand in an attack signal and sent his winged steed into a steep dive. Angels swept down behind him. Their song rose an octave into a shrill whistle. The music lost none of its glory, only becoming more inhuman. In moments, they had dropped from the blue heavens to the black swamps. Dead trees flashed past in gray stripes. Angels darted like silver blades in their midst. Depthless water churned below the hurtling hooves of Baron's steed. Ahead, a Phyrexian commander roared forward atop his air chariot. Baron gathered the power of islands and seas and sent a blue enchantment ripping out from his fingers. It twined in air and grasped the chariot. The vessel flipped over and drove downward, ramming its driver headfirst into a mud embankment. The chariot bounded up to crack against a tree and rattled to ground. Only the driver's legs jutted from the mound. They were broken and still. The shock troops beyond continued their charge. Angels jagged out before Baron. Their Magna swords sliced Phyrexians. Blades bit into spiky shoulders and cut clean through hunched legs. They cleft heads and gutted chests. Magna swords ran black and golden with guts and oil. The angel song had become a bloody thing, part battle hymn, part requiem. Baron lashed out with a rainbow of sorceries. His first spell turned Phyrexians on each other. His next sorcery infected hundreds more with carbuncles of rust. Catching his breath, Baron unleashed a simple but effective fireball, melting metal and bone and flesh. As he gathered another enchantment, Baron's steed smashed hooves atop Phyrexian heads. Still, there were so many shock troops, too many. Phyrexians rose from every hollow and every deadfall. Plague-infected claws sank into angel throats. Pinchers ripped wings from their sockets. Stingers pumped venom into pure hearts. Sarens dropped like moths. The Keldans fared even worse. They held a nearby ridge but were surrounded by Phyrexian slashers. Elven arrows did nothing against the metal beasts, all legs and blades. Keldan swords only clanged helplessly against them. Shoulder to shoulder, the strange allies were being ground to pieces. "Break through!" Baron called to the Sarens. "Break through to the Keldans!" The battle shifted. Angels gathered up behind the winged steed. Baron and his beleaguered troops rose from the swamp. Black mana spells followed them up, claiming 2 more Sarens. The rest escaped. It was a tattered group, angry and wounded, that broke from one overwhelming battle only to enter another. They had lost many comrades already and would lose more in moments. Baron's winged horse punched through curtains of moss. Angel wings tore the rest to ribbons. Sloughs beyond teemed with mosquitoes. Leather-backed shapes moved darkly through the water. Perhaps they would keep the Phyrexians from pursuing. The dead forest gave way to a stinking lake, beyond which rose the ridge where the Keldans and elves stood surrounded. Baron led his aerial units out across the inky waters. It'd be too late. Shock troops and slashers closed in. Even now, the shores boiled with black figures rising to join the Phyrexian ranks. They surged up eagerly behind the pressing armies and lent their putrid claws to the killing. Except, they were killing Phyrexians. Ghouls climbed in their thousands from the rank water, the remains of their former clothes and skin and muscle draped in tatters from their skeletons. They shambled with a hungry will up among the Phyrexian troops and piled atop them. Horns pierced their rotting flesh. Didn't matter. Blades chopped limbs from their bodies. Made no difference. Ghoul flesh clambered onto Phyrexians, gumming up every joint, choking every throat, burying every beast. Mouth hanging open in amazed horror, Baron diverted his troops up and away from the carnage. Angels jagged skyward behind the winged steed. As Baron gazed down at the strange tableau, he glimpsed, the crest of a rotten stump, the black-garbed necromancer that had raised the ghouls. Its face was a patchwork of desiccated flesh over white bone. It was a lich, undead creature itself, but it was Dominarian. It mustered its minions to fight Phyrexians. Just before the winged steed carried Baron beyond a stand of trees, he glimpsed a small, acknowledging nod from the lich, the sort given by comrades in the thick of battle. Strange coalitions. Baron leaned down against the glimmering neck of his mount and clutched it, panting sickly.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.